I'm Dan Brown, and for over 2 years I've been living on board a narrowboat. It's been an absolutely incredible time of my life, and I'm hoping that by inviting you on board for a over-the-shoulder look at a week in my life afloat, I'll be able to share with you just why I love it so much, and hopefully give you an insight into what my life afloat is like. Right, without further ado, I'll welcome you once more and say thanks for tuning in to Dan's Narrowboat Life. To start with, I thought we'd have a very quick look at some of the non-boat specific, more daily routine items that go on, but don't worry, we're going to keep this short and then dive properly into the video. First thing that you do in the day is normally wake up. So obviously on waking up, you've got the bedding and things like that to sort out, and just generally tidying up and getting the boat in tip-top shape ready for another lovely day out on the canal. And when it comes to lovely, obviously one of the next things that you're going to want to do is open up the curtains. And on a day like today, moored up in a spot like we are now, opening up to view immediately fields and countryside and hills in the distance. That's the real first moment of, ah yes, boat life, this is why I love it. Obviously the view's not always perfect, and sometimes it'll be hammering down rain and you'll be thinking, oh, I just want to close the curtains up and go back to sleep. But on a day like today, it's sunny, it's just beautiful. And equally today, I was very much sort of reminded, ah yes, boat life, this is what it's all about. When I opened up the blind at the front there and there's a boat coming straight up towards us, you're probably, and I hope seeing, footage on the screen right now as I'm talking about all this. Equally though, when you wake up, in the colder months in particular, you could wake up and find it's absolutely freezing on board. So in those cases, one of your first jobs before anything else is going to be getting a little bit more fuel in the wood burner. So once you start to get a little bit of wood on there, or just anything to start the heat coming back into the boat, then you start getting, right, let's get the boat in order. And as it warms up, it's like, ah, this is nice and cozy. And if the wind and rain's whipping outside, or if you've got snow on the ground, it's fantastic. Equally though, a day like today, you might wake up, it might have been a cold night, but it's a perfectly warm morning. You can feel the heat radiating through the door and the walls where the sun's been on the boat for hours. So then your main jobs are going to be looking at the fire and going, right, we better scrape out some of that ash and make sure it's all going to be good to go later on when we might need the fire. And similarly, in general cleaning, I normally give the floor a quick sweep and brush up, and maybe a little sponge down in the kitchen part, as probably I'd say I do that either every day or at the very least every other day, depending on where you're moored up and what sort of like leaves and mud that you might be dragging into the boat. Those are some of the basic things. Obviously, having a wash and getting dressed and all of that doesn't really need to be said. And as there are 7 billion people in the world, you can imagine that a lot of these things are things that there are many other people doing. Today I've arranged to meet my friends up at Western Rin and go and have dinner and just spend a few hours up there and have a look at their little baby that's just been born. So we're going to unlock the bike and then head out on this extremely bumpy towpath. There's just this little stretch here that goes down just around the corner there, and it's certainly a very good way to wake up in the morning, being rattled around on a bike. And here we are, biking up the towpath. It's very bumpy and it gets pretty muddy along this stretch, but luckily, as the week's going to go on, we're going to slowly move the boat up, ready for winter mooring, in a much more convenient place for everybody involved. And of course, we couldn't talk about a lovely little baby without having a dramatic action shot of the pram rolling along, and there he is, little Sammy. Wonderful stuff. Well, believe it or not, this really is only a few hours after I set out. I've returned wearing my friend's waterproofs. Everything is absolutely soaked through. The bike's not looking too bad. I'm loving the mudguards. They're definitely a big plus, and the bike's looking pretty clean, as am I. But it's still pouring down. Not as bad as it has been, but it has been absolutely hammering down for most of the day, from about 12:30 till, well, now at about maybe 4 o'clock-ish. Anyway, I think I'm going to head inside, dry off, get the fire lit probably, but for the moment I'm just going to run the engine for a little bit, just to give us an extra boost and charge to the batteries, so that it won't all be going very dark later on. The camera is making it look a lot better a day than it actually is. So you can see that we left the boat in an absolutely tip-top, bright, well-lit condition, and now on returning it really is as dark as anything. Just looking around the boat and seeing how dark it is so early on in the evening, and this is before even the darkest of the dark nights has started to set in. It's easy to see why I like to leave the engine running a little bit, just to charge up the batteries, as you do rely on the lights a lot more. As we see my very basic tea being cooked. In the rain, I totally forgot to go up to the shops on my way back and get something more salad-like and more green to go with it, but it wasn't too bad. And really, I just wanted to put a few clips in this first day to just set the scene and show what life's like and how I settle down in the evenings with the fire going, and obviously just a nice, calm, relaxing boat. Well, tea's been eaten, the washing up's all done and sorted, so now it's just a case of settling down for the evening. It's just gone 8 o'clock and getting a little bit of writing done, and also editing the video footage of the day into something that's hopefully usable. So I'm going to be sat at this desk for the next hour and a half, and hopefully get everything sorted. It's been hammering down outside, so there's no evening walk lined up at the moment. So until the next time, I think that I'm going to settle down here and then get to bed. It's about to pass 8 o'clock in the morning. I've set a nice early alarm so that we can get up and hopefully move the boat first thing in the morning, like literally right now. Oh, look at that, just a little bit of steam still rising up off the canal there. But general plan is to actually get up and move well before there's any rain come down, just after yesterday's lesson of it starting off perfect and then suddenly turned into a terrible, terrible day. It's needless to say that these are the moments of boat life that I absolutely love. Look at the scenery. We've got a cow racing us down the canal and actually beating us at this point. And it's still, like I say, only just gone 8 o'clock. This bridge ahead is one of the least rural parts of the canal on this stretch, once again because that's a very main road over that bridge, but still, how beautiful and fantastic is it? And again, we're moored up, we're settled in for the day, and it's still not even 9 o'clock in the morning. This is our little setting for the next couple of days in this video, and how fantastic is that? Today is all about filming and getting an awful lot of stuff done, and yes, believe it or not, when I am filming my documentary episodes, I am filming on an iPad sellotaped to the wall, or the iPods that you're currently watching me film on. And this is a very bizarre Inception-like moment where I'm within a video, which you're watching on another screen, and, well, goodness knows, I might even use this clip in another video. So, this is my current day. If we turn around and have a look at the actual boat, you can see it looks sort of in order, but then, because I'm filming a lot about the fire and general heating, there's axes, there's saws, there's little bits of stuff all over the place on this side of the boat. And this is basically how, when I'm stood in front of the camera here, giving you that sort of straight to camera talk, I've got all of these props on hand to quickly pick up and talk about as I go on. I've got a decent bit of filming done. I've even sat down and written something that I actually like, so that's always a bonus. And on that note, I think I'm going to take the opportunity now to head into town and get a little bit of shopping. I would normally head just up the road into St Martin's because it's very, very close by where we're now moored up. But instead, I think I'm going to hop on my bike, get into town because I want more of a selection of shops to be able to get things like bike lights, obviously, for the new bikes, and things that you can't just necessarily get all from one big supermarket. So hopefully I'm going to come back with some useful things, and this isn't going to be a massive waste of time, but well, I'm getting out on my bike, I'm doing something active, and I'm not just sat inside all day. So, without further ado, I'm going to try and do something useful. So, we managed to make a nice easy bike ride into town. No high winds like there had been while I was commuting in and out over the weekend. But my friend got in touch while I was on my way in and said, I'm free today if you want to meet up. So, we are going to be having a fun afternoon of going around pushing an awful lot of these business cards advertising the YouTube and the books through the doors of Oswestry. Fun and games. Right then, I'll wait for his arrival, and then this I think will be the last filming that goes on for quite a while. And while we're back in town, it would be absolutely outrageous for me not to get a little bit of footage of lovely little Pixie here. I know that there's a few people been wanting to see more of it. So anyway, as we're about to see, we are now waiting for a train to go over the road at Gabowen, just by Gabowen Station, on the way back to the boat. And you may notice that it's extremely dark in this video. That's because, unbelievably, I didn't end up leaving town until something to 10. It took ages to post hundreds and hundreds of those cards, which set me back an awful lot, meant that I didn't get to the shops to get all of the shopping and things like my bike lights, for example, that I wanted. But then there's also other little jobs that I was needing to do, various things online, and then I was in the process of teaching my nan and granddad how to use an iPad, as they having my old one off me, and, well, laying carpet tiles at me mum's house, all sorts of different bits and pieces like that, which basically put me back an awful lot until I finally got back onto the boat at 10:15. And on that note, you can imagine, I just got inside, got the fire lit, got the Kindle out, and had a little bit of a read before just drifting off to sleep. I set myself a nice late alarm for this day after the fun and games of the day before, and I was very pleased to wake up to find that it was actually quite a mild day. There was hardly any condensation on the windows, as you can see here, as we do a quick sweep of all of the windows. And I thought, well, you know what, it's time to go on the first bike ride down to Llangollen of the winter. So, looking outside and just generally having some breakfast, a few cereal bars, a nice gulp of water, I thought, yeah, it's still looking decent. There's a little bit of blue sky, so let's hop on the bike and get down that towpath. The destination on this bike trip was the little Welsh village of Llangollen, a lovely little place just over the border into Wales, and very touristy, gets extremely busy over the summer and some of the school holidays. I headed out down the towpath and then down the roads to get there, and as you can see, got to ride my bike right to the very door of the bakery that I always love to go to. Of course, here's some of the spoils of the said bakery, and this is one of my favourite places to stop and eat on these trips that I do. Over the winter months, I like to get out to Llangollen for exactly this reason. I can either bus there, or walk there, or bike there, but Llangollen itself is right in the heart of the Berwyn Mountains, so being able to get the bus there and then walk straight up into the hills is fantastic. Equally, once you're at the top of the hill coming back down, that's a very fun few minutes and few miles that you put under your wheels. Well, I've had my nice little rest and a read. I've also just done 3 separate videos. First one I did was a general notebook and filofax sort of video. Then I've done a commentary on a little clip from the bike ride today, and also sorted out a mudguard review video. So now I am very lucky and happy to say, yes, it wouldn't be a Dan Brown video and it wouldn't be a week in my life if we didn't have a pizza night. It's payday tomorrow, but it's also Halloween tomorrow, so the last thing anybody wants to do is answer the door, whether it's a pizza man or goodness knows who. So tonight I'm heading up to my friend's house. We've got the pizzas ordered in, and well, it could be a fun evening. Right then, I've got to get back on my bike because there's no rest for the wicket, and well, let's get some pizza in us. So under the watchful eye of Andrew the cat, I tucked into a nice little pizza, and oh my goodness me, one of my favourite things ever. It's proper unhealthy food, chips and cheese and beans, all in a massive pile in a carton. Well, unexpectedly, I ended up stopping at my friend's house overnight. So, as you can imagine, first thing in the morning, get straight back onto the bike. It's a nice quiet country lanes and all the usual travelling and scenery that I like to ride through. So I'm heading into town to give my nan and granddad a quick iPad lesson. Their SIM card is arriving any moment now, so it's official, they're online. So basically, I've got a few videos from yesterday's biking and things like that that I'm going to post while I'm in town, and then it will be back out to the boat, then move the boat a little bit, ready for winter mooring, and that will be my evening done again. Right, let's get into town, let's get these iPad lessons done, and my goodness me, who knows what the day may bring. This is how I upload my videos to YouTube. I've got 3 of them uploading at the moment, as mentioned, and as you can see, they're just queued up to keep uploading, and basically, what happens is, YouTube will not post these until you press publish. So you can publish all of them as and when they upload, or what I do, as I normally do when I come home to work over the weekends, is upload everything and just leave it like this while I'm at work. Then, later on or at any moment throughout the week, I can individually on the iPad from wherever I am, as long as I've got phone signal, press publish and keep a steady stream of videos coming. Just for interest's sake, this was later on that evening, and you can see on the iPad I have got the 3 options there of publish, publish, publish next to those latest 3 videos, and it is simply a case of tap publish and that video's now live. So obviously from wherever I am at any moment of the week, I can just press these and keep them stored up for when I want. I'll just warn you now as well that I wanted to throw in a little sad clip of what the dog is like at my mum's house every time I go to leave. Oh, Pixie, no, you're making me sad. Oh, Pixie. Well, I've finally managed to get back on board. Again, this is slightly later than I was intending, and my goodness me, I've got my brand new bike light at long last. And as you can see by the way it's lighting up the side of the boat here, it's pretty bright, so I'm happy with that. That's one useful thing that's come out of today. I've managed to get a little bit more writing done and sent off an article I was talking about the other day. There was just a little bit of extra writing to go with that, so I've sorted that as well now. So that's all sorted. Sorted out me bits and pieces for me nan and grandad, setting up their iPad and all the rest of it. They are now properly online and on the internet as of about 2 hours ago or so. I have just had to bike down in the rush hour after work, and my goodness me, the difference between people driving and the amount of cars on the road to when I'm used to getting on the main roads and biking compared to now is unbelievable. Oh, once again, I'm absolutely loving this light. Anyway, as it's now about 5:30, as we've just seen, I'm going to get on board, get the fire going, and then just settle down and have as lazy a night as possible. I haven't been able to get back in time to move the boat, unfortunately, so that'll have to wait, and we'll get that sorted tomorrow morning first thing. So I think it is just the case now, get on board, I'm going to sit down with me books, as in my notebooks and organiser, sort out exactly what I want to get sorted next month, and hopefully by tomorrow, the 1st of November, I will be all sorted and know exactly what's going on for the rest of, well, the year really. Right then, let's get on board. I just wanted to take a moment to apologise for today's entry. I know it's hardly been the greatest boaty blog ever, but this video is intended to give you a general look at my life as a whole and what it's like day to day. You are joining me on an absolutely beautiful morning. As you can see, we've got a wonderful blue sky up ahead. I know that we've said this before in these videos, but it's turned out to be a terrible day. I've just headed out on my bike. It's still nice and early. I don't know, it's about 5 to 9 at the moment. Just thought I wanted to come and scout out ahead, because this is basically where I'm going to spend most of the winter. And I thought I'll just bike up, check it's all free, because it's been absolute chaos, and after what I saw the other day when I biked out to Llangollen, I wanted to be absolutely certain I wasn't going to get here and find tons of boats about the place. But as the ducks are all over the place, they seem to be the only traffic on the water around here, apart from a few boats that have already headed down. Anyway, on that note, I think it's time that we biked back down to Tilly and then got out on the move. Once again, these are the wonderful little things where, because of knowing the area and knowing exactly where I want to go and more, I can go and scout ahead before I actually go boating. Here is the boat trip itself, and what a great way to spend a morning. It's only about, I'd say, probably half an hour to 40 minutes worth of actual boat riding, so far less on a bike, although the towpath is extremely bumpy, so you can't really go very fast at all. Not that I'd ever recommend going quickly on a bike down the towpath right next to a canal, but equally, it's just, well, how perfect is it? A bike ride and then a boat trip in this weather on the first day of winter mooring. I think this was Saturday the 1st of November. And you can see it's beautiful weather, nice and crisp and blue skies. And, well, what a way to end the year's summer cruising. And here we are, hopefully, where we're going to be spending the next 5 months. Probably be doing my usual, moving between here and the Newmarton locks where we were moored up at the start of this video. And this, really, is hopefully, depending on where the stoppage is and where the canal's being drained around here, is going to be the view for quite a while. But one of the good things about having a winter mooring is that obviously I can turn around and go down on little trips and then come back here, so I can make sort of half an hour, 40-minute little boat rides just for the sake of having boat rides. The weather is still dry out there, so that's a big plus so far. As many of you will know if you've watched my previous videos, I try and do a little bit of walking and have a stroll in the morning and a stroll in the evening, just to stretch my back and just generally loosen up the old joints if I'm sat on board doing a lot of desk work, and today is definitely one of those. If we just have a look here, you'll see that I'm in the process of putting up my little winter mooring permits in the windows, and basically, if you're unfamiliar with what winter mooring is, then I will post a link in the description to a video where I talk about it at length. But in the fundamental, most basic form, it's a scheme that allows you to pay a fee and effectively have a mooring that means you don't have to keep moving every 14 days over the winter. Here's a moment that I'll be reliving many, many times over the next few months. Coming around that corner, walking past the turning point, and then having Tilly come into sight just down the way there. Right, let's go. Continuing my walk up the canal to Chirk, it's a fantastic little route to say that you're going up to buy a few supplies or go to the shops or go and meet somebody, especially because you've got the Chirk Aqueduct as your massive, awesome centrepiece for the walk. How fantastic. And some of the times I've been here in the winter when it's snowed, even before a boat, well, I'm sure you can imagine how good it is. I've had myself a nice little cheese and onion pasty, got an energy drink and some sweets up there, listening to podcasts. And, well, I think that just for a little bit, I'm not really going to get up to much. It's still not looking like the perfect day that we once were hoping for. There's a little bit of blue sky peeking through again, but, oh well, I'm sure I can live with it. Well, there you have it. Only moments ago I said there was a little bit more blue sky, and of course, just like every other day this week in this video, it's now raining. Ah well, it was nice while it lasted, and at least I got to get out to Chirk and have me dinner before it was time to get very wet out there. As you can see, the windows have started to steam up, and that's basically because over the last hour or so, the temperature has really dropped, and just from having somebody in the boat and generally milling around on board, that obviously creates a certain amount of condensation when the temperature drops. So to combat that, I have put half of a heat log in the fire, just because I was lazy and there was one hanging around, so just chucked that in and lit it. So now that's obviously throwing a little bit of heat into the boat and going to not only warm us up but solve a bit of the condensation problem. But equally, you'll see instead of the standard lid, I've got my kettle, a proper good old whistling kettle, on top. Excuse the interruption there as my phone just went off. But as some of you may know from my older videos, I always over the winter months have something like the kettle or even a pot and pan when I'm doing cooking on top of the fire, because obviously instead of using gas and using the boiler, you can have something on the fire if it's burning anyway to heat up water, so when it comes time to do the washing up and things like that, you've already got an instantly hot source of water to just pick up, pour into the washing up bowl, and there you are, sorted. Once again, nice and efficient, and using the fire that's burning anyway. As evening is now setting itself in well and truly, I'm just out here putting a little bit more coal into the bucket just to keep us topped up on the inside, and just take a look at the view as we do it. Absolutely lovely. And these are our neighbours for the evening. Well, the evening's getting on, and if I grab the tongs here, you'll see that we have got a very nice fire indeed burning in there. Absolutely beautiful looking fire that is. Oh, lovely stuff. So I think I'm going to let that burn for a little bit so that it gets absolutely piping hot on the boat. Then I'm going to put the ashtray in and try and smother as much of the airflow as possible to let it burn as long as I can get it to. At which point I think I will head up to Western Ryn, as it's now an extremely short trip just up the road. In fact, if you could see anything up through this window, then you would just see the bank, and I think you've probably seen this multiple times in this video already, but you would just be looking up a very slight hill that just goes straight up in a straight line to Western Ryn itself. So I think I might, well, before I go anywhere, I think I need to just tidy the place up a little bit, but just hop up there and then be in bed by about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and all ready to have a nice early morning and get on my bike and go out to work tomorrow. Right then, as we peer into that total darkness out there, it's unbelievably dark, I think that I will wrap filming up for this evening. So here we go, a work day in my narrowboat life. This is what the fire was like when I first woke up. Just about burning, but not really giving out much heat. The boat was still warm though. I thought I would leave the audio on these little clips just so that you can hear how silent it is to be up and about before 7 AM on a Sunday. Just the birds and general noises of nature, and the same when you hop on the bike and get out and ride off down into Oswestry. What I do over these work days is bike into my mum's house, because it's a safe place to obviously leave my bike, and then get changed and head off to work. And of course, after work, through the magic of editing, here we are arriving back at my mum's house for jacket potatoes and cheese and beans. Oh, absolutely lovely stuff. Anyway, this was me biking back out to the boat after work, and as you can see, because obviously it's getting into winter, it's extremely dark. You can see here, there's these little lights that are distant, obviously markers of houses and little towns. You've got the moon up there, but considering that this is what I consider the main roadway back into Oswestry, there's absolutely no sign of traffic or anything really man-made at all apart from the road and the fence. And this is what the view was like the following morning when I was heading back into work. And this is exactly the same spot where obviously you could see at night time there's just random houses dotted around in the distance and not much else. But I really wanted to just generally show you what I consider the main roadway rather than the rural way. So once again, folks, we've got a lovely fire burning. You can see I've got plenty of coal in there, which will keep us going until the morning. Pop the lid back on. It's about 11 o'clock-ish now, so I'm just writing in my diary entry for the day. Got me lovely little Midori there as usual. And then looking down the boat, it's a little bit of a tip, that's very true. But it's all part of the fun and games, I suppose. You can see we've got the lights on, and we've got the bedding and everything really ready to go. It's just, like I say, a case of just tidying up and getting everything in order. I've got all of my stuff out here as I've been filming and doing a little bit of video editing sprawled out on the sofa bed. And like I say, we've got that fire in that black hole just there, throwing out a huge amount of heat. So I think it's going to be a nice early night, probably asleep by midnight, and hopefully wake up around 8:30ish, so not too late, so I can do a little bit of filming in the morning, and hopefully then get on my bike and have a nice dry ride into town for a change. Here's a random moment for you then. This was about 20 to 3 in the morning. As you can see, it was absolutely pouring down, and I was convinced, although wrongly, that there was some sort of creature at the side of the boat. But only a few hours later, waking up, how much different does the world look when the sun's out and it's this perfect? Well, my friends, just like we have on many other occasions this week, we've woken up to find a lovely blue sky overhead, and also wonderful scenery as lit up and enhanced by that quite amazing sky. But equally, I don't trust this weather one bit still. And with that, my friends, our time together must draw to a close. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I've certainly enjoyed putting it together and trying to film all of the things that I've been up to over the last 7 days. I equally hope that it's given you a little bit more of an insight into my life afloat and what I get up to both on board and off board. And I've tried to pick this week in particular because it's a normal week before winter mooring starts, where hopefully I'm obviously doing more of the standard things that I do of boating a little bit rather than getting to winter mooring and just being, right, we're stopping here for the next month or so, then we're having a little quick trip around the corner and then we're coming back. So hopefully you've enjoyed that and enjoyed some of the scenery and just really enjoyed tagging along for a bit of boat life. Anyway, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me once again. It's amazing, as usual, just to see the incredible support that the YouTube channel's had and my books and all the rest of it. It's literally all, well, it is enough to make my voice start to crack immediately. So I'm going to wrap things up and say thank you very much. I decided not to film the rest of this day as it was basically me going to work and then getting back to the boat about 11 PM, so it wasn't amazing footage or anything, but how perfect is this that I filmed on the outside? This just sums up everything I love about boat life. It's not about the boat, it's about being out in places like this and enjoying scenery and general surroundings that are as perfect and natural as they can be. I will say thank you once again for watching. Feel free to like the Facebook page or add me personally on Facebook and Twitter if you'd like to see all sorts of photos and general Canal life updates. Equally, subscribe and check out my other videos. There must be 200 plus narrowboat videos on my channel now. And of course, check out my books for the Kindle. Just check the links in the description or search for The Narrowboat Lad on Amazon. Until the next time, thank you very much for watching and have a fantastic day. Farewell.